Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lucy. I will be your facilitator this evening. Welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative Highlighting Engineering and Technology Virtual College Fair. Thank you again for joining us. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. At any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. And this is just one of many sessions happening. Please be sure to sign up for the next round that's in about the next hour or so. And this presentation is also being recorded and will be available to you in about a week at strivescan.com/CACHET. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Union College.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Hankson. I am one of the Deans of Admissions here at Union. And what I'm going to do is share my screen and introduce you to all the wonderful things that go on at Union's campus. So Union College is a old school. We were founded in 1795. We are actually the first college in the state of New York. And we are located in Schenectady, which is a small city, about 67,000 people. We're about 20 minutes from Albany, the state capital. We are 3 hours north of New York City and 3 hours west of Boston and 3 hours south of Montreal, Canada. So we're about halfway up in the state of New York. We are also located about an hour south of the Adirondack Mountains and an hour north of the Catskill Mountains. So you have the advantage of being in some small metropolitan area, close to major metropolitan areas, but also close to the outdoors. So if those are the types of things that you enjoy, you certainly can get to those places from Union. We are a small school, 2,200 students, all undergraduate. We have a wide variety of academic programs. We have more than 50 undergraduate majors and minors, and we pride ourselves on the fact that there is a very strong integration of academic programs at Union. I know many of you who are joining me tonight are probably focused on the math, science, and engineering, the STEM fields, since this is what CACHET is all about. But I just want to tell you a little about the balance of the academic programs at Union, because I think it's really important for students who are studying in the STEM fields to also have that well-rounded background. And as a liberal arts college, that's one of the things that we require all of our students to do, have that breadth of academic programs. We have about 50% of our students who are majoring in a math, science, or engineering, and about 50% of our students who are majoring in something in the humanities and social sciences. But one of the things that I think is really special about Union is that about 80% of our students are pursuing more than one academic discipline. So basically what this means for the student is if you are someone who has an interest in chemistry, but have always enjoyed a language, you can continue doing that. If you are a student in mechanical engineering, but you have always had an interest in music or theater, you can continue those things. Or if you are a student who has just discovered that computer science and economics is such a wonderful mix and you are interested in data analytics and things like that, you can have that mix at Union. When you are applying to Union, you're applying to the college. You're not applying into an academic program unless you are applying to our accelerated medical program with Albany Medical College or our accelerated law program with Albany Law School. But most students come into Union as Union students. And through the first year or the first 2 years, that is when you will determine how you are going to combine all your different academic interests. We have 4 disciplines in engineering. They are all ABET accredited engineering programs. So we offer mechanical, electrical, computer, and biomedical. Students who are majoring or interested in engineering will come in and take a standard engineering program in the first year, which would include obviously the calculus, the physics, the chemistry, an overview of engineering. And typically that class is what will allow students to figure out which field of engineering they actually want to major in. It's at the end of the first year that those students are going to declare their major. All other students at Union have until the end of their sophomore year. So whether you're majoring in physics or chemistry or environmental science, you have an additional year to figure again what your academic path will be. The other important piece of integration at Union is that there are a number of interdisciplinary majors that we offer, things like biomedical engineering, neuroscience, environmental science, policy and engineering. These are all courses that, all programs that take courses from a number of different academic departments. We also have courses taught in an integrated way. So you might have a professor within the biology department co-teaching a class with someone in the art department. You might have someone in chemistry co-teaching a class with someone in plastics. And so you have this mixture and this integration from day one at Union, which is very important. As I mentioned, we are a smaller school, 2,200 students. And so we pride ourselves on the fact that you are going to make connections with all pieces of the college. You will certainly connect with the other students in your classes. You're going to connect with the faculty in your classes. You're going to connect with the people who are working in the dining halls. You are going to connect with our president, who is seen in this bottom photo on the screen right now. You will make these connections. And again, from day one, this is what happens at Union. Our classes are small. Introductory classes at Union average about 21 students, and upper level classes average 14 students. So professors are going to expect you to be engaged in the classroom environment. They're going to expect you to say what you got out of the reading the night before, talk about the math problems or those chemistry labs that you're doing. You're going to engage constantly with that. You are also going to be able to have professors teaching you in a number of different academic settings. So because we're strictly an undergraduate college, we do not have any graduate students or graduate teaching assistants on campus. So whether it is a lecture in an engineering program, whether it is a seminar, whether it is a lab, you are going to be taught by the professors. And because you're going to see them and they are going to see you in a number of different situations, they're going to really get to know you, and they're going to be able to identify if you are having a difficulty with one particular part of the class. They'll be able to focus in on that. Also, without having graduate assistants, our professors are correcting all of your papers in your labs. Another great way for them to see and reach out to you if they think that you are missing a major topic or should be studying a little more. So those relationships with the professors are certainly key at Union. I have done a lot of programs in the recent months with professors, and it's also wonderful to hear them talk about how they have chosen to teach and stay teaching at Union because of the connections that they make with their students. So it's not just a one-way advantage. It's not just the students knowing the professors. It's also the professors really understanding how they can mentor their students from these classes. Our professors are a wonderful bunch because besides teaching the classes, they are also all staying current in their field and doing research. And what this means for the student is that they have the opportunities to have immersive experiences at Union. One of the things that most of our students will take advantage of are undergraduate research opportunities. As I mentioned, our professors are doing research. And so it's really, they need you, the students, to help them with their research. They need people to help record things. They sometimes co-author papers with students. They will bring students to national conferences to present research. And they always come back and tell us that it's such an amazing experience because so many of the experts in the field are talking with the Union students and they're saying, wow, I thought you were a graduate student. Your research has been so intricate. And so that's really a special thing that you have these experiences. These research experiences that you will have with the professors will often springboard into doing your own senior research project. All students in our engineering program will have to do a senior research project. And most students within the sciences, because they've been working with the professors in the labs, will opt to do their own senior research. We are on a trimester calendar, so we have 3 10-week terms. And so Monday was the beginning of our spring term. I mentioned that only because many of the seniors have just finished their senior research. And so it's like a burden has been lifted off of them. They feel really good about themselves because they've been working in this research for 3 to 6 months of their senior year. But it's been a really wonderful experience because they have been able to work individually. They have been able to stay on their own time schedule, and they've really been able to experience what it is like to be a researcher. One of the most special days at Union is our Steinmet Symposium, which happens in early May of every year. And we typically have about 500 students who are presenting research on Steinmet's Day. So it's a wonderful way to see the breadth of the research that's taking place. Some of the things that students have researched in our energy studies lab, they're researching passive cooling of solar panels. They might be working in our crochet lab, which is our robotics lab, working on programming computers, building computers, working with people in the psychology department on facial recognition from robots. It may be someone who's working in the aerogels lab, which is a very insulating material. And so they're looking to see how they can incorporate aerogels into windows, for instance, to make them more insulating. So this breadth of research really takes place in all areas. But as I said, Steinmet's Day is wonderful. This year, actually, Steinmet's Day is going to be a virtual experience. And so you might want to tune in and just hear some of the research presentations by our students. But that's certainly really wonderful. The other thing that a lot of our students can take advantage of as far as research are summer research opportunities. So Union has an extensive summer research program. We typically fund about 150 students each summer to be doing research. Sometimes the research that they're doing is, again, in conjunction with the professor and the research that they're doing, but often the students are developing their own research. Biomedical engineers, for instance, have an opportunity in the summer to be able to go down to Albany Medical College, and they are able to interact with physicians and surgeons and learn a little about what maybe new instrument is needed for surgeries. And that way they can come back and start that project and do that research as their research project, really being able to see the need and understand and talk with people who are going to be using it in the future. So that hands-on application is really important. Another immersive experience that a lot of our students take advantage of are internships. And so that kind of goes hand in hand with the research that students are doing. We want students to have that opportunity to apply what they're doing in the classroom outside of the classroom. We want them to be able to, go and spend a summer working at a corporation or a company, or maybe working in the month of December when our class is not being held. Students have done internships in the local area. We are very close to the major research labs of General Electric. There are a number of other high-tech industries in the Capital District. Regeneron, which is a chemical company, Global Foundries, which is a nanotech company, all within a 20 to 25-minute drive of campus. But a lot of the students do take advantage of these internships and do it during the summer. So students are working at Stanley Black & Decker. They are working at Texas Instruments. They are working at General Dynamics. They are working at NASA. So you have these opportunities to really be able to, as I said, apply what you're learning. Our Becker Career Center is wonderful. They start working with students as early as your first year for developing your resumes, helping you to learn how to write a strong cover letters, practicing mock interviews with you, sitting down with you and talking about what career options you have if you are going to major in something. It's important that we have a very strong alumni base who are very loyal to Union. So we have a Union College alumni network with about 13,000 people on it. And these are alumni who are wanting to help you. They want you to reach out to them and ask them about their career path. And hopefully, or maybe put you in touch with someone who would be able to provide you with an internship opportunity. So all of those things are built into finding those internships, and I'll be talking about permanent jobs in a few minutes. Another exciting thing that a lot of our students take advantage of are study abroad programs. For us at Union, we really feel like it is an important element of development to understand and appreciate other cultures. So we really encourage our students to take advantage of whether either full-term programs or mini-term programs abroad. About 60% of our students do study abroad at some point during their 4 years. And I have to emphasize, this is 60% of our engineering students, 60% of our students who are majoring in a science or math or computer science. So all of these things are open to all students. There are some programs specifically designed for students from specific majors. For instance, we have a program to Prague, which is an engineering-based program. We have a program to Sicily, where students who are majoring in biology will be working in a bio lab with scientists over there. But most of our academic programs are open to students from any academic program. We have a senior intern last year, or I guess it was a winter ago, since our study abroad programs have not been going on this year, who went to Australia. And she is a sociology, psychology double major. She was in a group with, there was a young man who was majoring in economics, and there was another person who was majoring in mechanical engineering, and the three of them were kind of grouped together. So they were each doing research in Australia, but very different focuses. So while she was learning about the society and some of the norms in the society, the mechanical engineer was researching power plants in Australia, and the economics student was looking at obviously their economic policies. So it was really interesting. The same study abroad program was providing so many different things to different people within that program. As I mentioned, we have full-term programs abroad, which are either 10 to 12 weeks. And then we have something called mini-term programs, which are 3-week intern programs that happen in the month of December or early part of the summer. So some students will opt to do that. It is a credit-bearing course, so you are doing some academic work, but it will provide students with that opportunity, which is obviously very fantastic. One of the things that I wanted to highlight today were some of the advances that we are making in our STEM fields. Right behind me, I'll move my head, is our new $100 million integrated science and engineering complex. It officially opened a year ago, January, and it is a beautiful new facility that ties together much of the sciences, engineering. So within this building, we have floors dedicated to biology, physics with the particle accelerator, chemistry, mechanical engineering. Tied to the building is our psychology building. So the neuroscientists kind of run between the psychology building and the biology department. The electrical engineering is in a building, again, attached to this. It also attaches to the Wold Center, which is a building for the integrated sciences. So that is where our computer science crochet lab, the robotics lab is. That is where the aerogels lab is. That is where the environmental science program is. The observatory is in the building next to that. So it's now a wonderful complex. We also announced just last year a $50 million gift from the Templetons. They both attended Union. He is the CEO of Texas Instruments and was an electrical engineer at Union. And his wife was a computer science major. And so they have started the Templeton Institute for Engineering and Computer Science. So that will add to all the different academic programs and the opportunities that the students have within the fields of engineering and computer science. So two very exciting things that happened just so recently at Union. Now, I've talked a lot about academics and some of the programs that you would be able to take advantage of. I just also want to talk a little about Union in general. We did talk about how students are able to combine academic interests, and about 75% of our students are going to be pursuing more than one academic focus. But I also want to say that Union is the type of environment where students have their hands in many different clubs and organizations as well. We're a very inclusive campus. We want people to be able to pursue all their different interests and passions. We have about 130 clubs and organizations, everything from community service opportunities within Schenectady and the Capital District of New York. We have student government, we have a newspaper, a yearbook. We just celebrated our 100th anniversary of the radio station, which is the oldest radio station of any college in the nation. We have student government, we have cultural organizations, religious organizations. We have music programs, theater programs, dance programs. Varsity sports, we're Division III in the majority of our varsity sports, Division I in men's and women's ice hockey. But we also have club sports and intramural sports. So whatever level you want to be at, you'll be able to find an opportunity to do that. One of the unique programs at Union is our Minerva House system. And so I just want to take a minute to describe that because it definitely is a unique system. We have 7 Minerva houses. Every incoming first-year student is assigned to one of the Minerva houses. So that's one of the things that I really like because it's not a selection process. Everyone belongs. You get assigned to a house based on some of your first year classes or which residence hall you're going to be living in your first year. And you'll belong to that Minerva house all 4 years. It is an opportunity for students to take great leadership roles in the college because the Minerva houses are all run by a house council. And the house council is the ones who will decide what events and programs the Minerva House is going to sponsor for the greater campus community. So it's really interesting, very clever, very creative things come out of the Minerva House system. Even in this year of COVID, we've had about 85% of our students on campus all year. So it's been relatively normal, albeit that people are wearing masks and we're staying socially distant. But the Minerva houses have been really creative in sponsoring different clubs or activities for the campus community. Some of those things, Milkshake Mondays, obviously very popular. Who doesn't want a milkshake as they're, taking a study break? Waffle Tuesdays. We have pizza and politics and political discussions, dinner and discussion programs. This past fall was very busy with pizza and politics because that organization or that Minerva House sponsored a number of events to watch the presidential debates with political science professors there so they could all talk about what was being said or what wasn't being said and how the different candidates did. There might be more social events. So one of the houses often will host an Oktoberfest program. It's interesting. We have a recent graduate, Jenny, who was a double major in German and mechanical engineering. She's now in a doctoral program at UCSD. But she was kind of the leader of the Oktoberfest celebration. She had spent a term abroad in Germany, and so obviously had lived it while she was in Germany. but came back and brought some of that great, German culture back into the Union. You might have a program where the president of the college cooks a meal with a student, with students, and just talks about different things going on in the college. You might have a language table. You might have a program on a specific religious celebration. The Indian student group, for instance, did a whole session on henna and the importance of henna in an Indian wedding. So cultural things, religious things, social activities, academic activities, all going on in the Minerva houses. So it just has added to the breadth of what's going on. Another thing that I want to mention about the Minerva houses is faculty also belongs. So when I mentioned that some of these faculty members were going to events at the Minerva houses, it's because they belong. They might go to a lunch, you might be seated next to the professor that you have this term or someone that you had a year ago, and you can catch up with them. But with having different people belong to the Minerva houses, it really brings the campus community very closely together, which is, I think, very important. About 92% of our students stay in college housing all 4 years. So we are a residential school. We are about a 10-minute walk into downtown Schenectady. Excuse me. So certainly students use the city, as I said, to do some community service, but also to walk to the probably 30 different restaurants within walking distance of campus, or to go down to the movie theater, or to go to Proctor's Theater that has traveling Broadway shows, or comedians come in. Sometimes Minerva houses will even buy a block of tickets at one of the Proctor's events and have students go. That is where our a cappella groups actually host the New York State Thruway kind of a cappella sing-off. And so you'll see the men's a cappella group in the lower picture to the right. Our all women's a cappella group won the competition, and this is with a number of colleges and universities, as I said, along the New York Thruway. So all sorts of things going on in Schenectady. But on campus, as I said, the majority of the students will live on campus all 4 years. That will include students from in typical dormitories, suite style houses, apartments. The Minerva houses do have some students living in them, theme houses. We do have Greek organizations, and about a third of the students will join a Greek organization. Typically, or you do not join a Greek organization until the sophomore year. So you have your whole first year to kind of settle in and figure out what role they play and how you want to be involved with that. The one thing that I then want to mention is talking a little about life after Union. And just like in your high school is preparing you for life in college should prepare you for life after college. And this is preparing you for multiple tomorrows. And when we talk about multiple tomorrows, we know that many students, many people are going to change their career plans, maybe a year or two in, maybe 10 years in, maybe 20 years in. And the academic program at Union allows you to think critically and analyze and be able to be flexible and learn new things throughout your life. And so we're preparing you not just for that first job, for multiple jobs. 98% of the students at Union within 6 months of graduation have plans for the coming year. And when I mean plans that really benefit them and really make them feel fulfilled. So about 70% of our students are going directly into the jobs. About 20 to 22% of our students go directly into graduate programs, both master's and doctoral programs. And then the remaining percentage are doing some fantastic things. Teach for America. We have a senior intern this year who is in our Navy ROTC program, and so will be serving in the military for the next couple of years. We have students who are doing Fulbright scholarships around the world, or Watson fellowships. So you have these opportunities to really continue to engage in what you are interested in. I mentioned the Becker Career Center before. They certainly help students to post jobs, but also to learn how to network, to set up that LinkedIn account. They work you through that whole thing, both while you're at Union, but also, 2 years out, if you want some more advice, you can come back to the Becker Career Center. So all of those things are certainly important. The one last thing that I want to mention, and I'll just mention again what Lucy said at the beginning. If you do have any specific questions about things that I haven't touched on that you would like to know more about, or things that I touched on but you still like a little more information, please put any sort of questions in the Q&A. That would be great. I will just want to run through a few things with admissions and financial aid. We accept both the common application and the coalition application. We have 3 different application plans. We offer early decision, which is that binding program. So if you know for sure that Union's where you want to go, it's a super program. You would hear by the early part of December or middle part of December and be all set. We also have early action, which allows you to apply early. You would hear by the end of December, but you don't have to make a decision until May 1st. And then we have the typical regular decision opportunity as well. A couple of things that are important to note for admissions into Union. Number one, first and foremost, we're going to be looking at the student's academic profile from high school. So types of courses you're taking, challenging courses, rigorous classes, so AP, IB, honors classes. Certainly for you to have some of those is really good for us to see. Most of our students, I would say, come in with an A to a B+ average in the nice rigorous classes. We are a test optional school and have been a test optional school for about 15 years. So we did not switch when a lot of schools switched this year. So we did not have to change our application review process at all, which was very beneficial this year for us. If you do submit testing, if you take them more than once, SATs or ACTs, we will always super score the tests. But if you decide that that's not really a good reflection of who you are as a student, you just simply check the box on the Common App or the Coalition app, and we will not consider those. The one last thing is we love to sit down and talk with students. And so we will begin interviewing juniors or next year's seniors starting on May 1st. At this point, all of our interviews are virtual, so you can do it from the comfort of your own home. We really like to have an opportunity to hear, what are those activities that you most enjoy? What are the classes that you're most enjoying? And also be able to answer one-on-one your questions and provide you more information. So please think about doing that. The other thing that I will mention is we are having a number of other virtual experiences, from open houses to every Thursday night. We have something called Discover You, which is a program that includes faculty and students. We have virtual tours, we have virtual information sessions, all sorts of things. So please, hopefully take advantage of that. The other exciting thing is we are actually being able to welcome visitors to campus right now. And while we have to limit the number in each session, we are having programs through the month of April, 7 days a week, a number of times on weekends, and then one session every weekday afternoon. And then in May, we will go into weekends and probably Saturdays, weekdays and Saturdays. But please make sure you're checking out the Union website, and I will be putting that as well as my email address in the chat. While I'm doing that, I just want you to know that with financial aid, we meet 100% of the demonstrated financial need of all students who are admitted to Union. What that means is that you will get a combination of grant, loan, and work study in a typical financial aid package. A majority of it will be grant. We also offer merit scholarships, and any student who applies for admission is considered for a merit award. This year, the merit awards range from $15,000 to $25,000 a year, and you have that, and is good for all 4 years. So certainly wonderful. And the last thing we started just last year was something called the Making Union Possible or Making You Possible grants. And these are grants that are geared towards middle income families, so families making up to about $250,000. Those families that might get squeezed out of qualifying for a lot of need, but certainly could use it. And so families can use the net price calculator to see if that they would be maybe eligible for that. And then you would have to submit the FAFSA and the CSS profile. So that just gives you a little background information about financial aid. So that is the end of what I had to say. As I said, I would love to have questions if I can help anyone with any specific thing that I didn't touch on, or a specific academic program that you would like to know more about. I will be happy to answer those. As I said, I put my email address in the chat, and Union's main website, but I will also put in it's just admissions, the admissions website, where you can learn all about the different ways that you can visit or connect with us. If there are no questions, I just want to thank everyone for joining me this evening. I hope that, I see a question. Oh, that's a great question, Kamal. No, so our campus is about 140 acres large. And so basically from one side of campus to another side of campus, it's about a 10-minute walk. And from end to end, it's probably a 15-minute walk. So a very walkable campus. You will see some students skateboarding around campus, some students with bikes, but most students just walk. As a first-year student, you're not allowed to have a car, but after your first-year student, after first year, you are allowed to have a car. Yes, okay, so there is a question about the mini terms and the regular terms. So we are on a trimester calendar, and hopefully I'm answering the right question. If not, please tell me. We have 3 10-week terms at Union. So our fall term traditionally runs from Labor Day to Thanksgiving, right after New Year's to middle part of March, and then late March to early part of June. So that's how our academic calendar runs. As I mentioned, you will have the month of December off from class. And so that's when some of the mini terms will take place. And those are the study abroad programs that happen for about 3 to maybe 3.5 weeks, would be in December, or as I said, in the early part of the summer. Okay, thanks, Isabel. Thank you. I'm glad that you were able to visit campus. Okay, so the diversity of our student body. The last couple of classes we have been roughly, or have had roughly 21 to 24% students from underrepresented diverse backgrounds. Typically it breaks down to, I think last year was probably about 12% Asian American, 7%. It was probably pretty even, 6% Hispanic and 6% African American. We typically will have also about 9 to 10% international students on campus. What is exciting about the diversity and equity program at Union is our president developed a very creative DEI committee. It includes 4 different people. So it's not being led just by one person, because he really wanted to pull in staff people from across the college. So there are people from the Dean of Students office, our Title IX coordinator, there's a faculty member who sits on that. And right now there are 4 different committees running to evaluate all different pieces of diversity and equity issues on campus and bringing them to the forefront. So we at Union kind of, our president always talks about constructive engagement and how important it is to be discussing things and to be bringing things to issues to a head, basically. And so this DEI commission is kind of looking at all pieces of the university or the college and heading in that direction. So I think great strides and a proactive stance is being taken at Union, which has been really wonderful to see. Great questions, thank you. I should also mention, besides ethnic and racial diversity, we also are committed to bringing in students from different geographical areas. I mean, I mentioned the international students, but we are really focused on making our student body more geographically diverse. I would say we probably have about 65% of our students coming from the Northeast or Middle Atlantic states. But there are pockets across the country that we certainly draw students in from. And that's another way that we're trying to diversify. The other thing is that we have started a program for first generation students. It's called the Bridges program. So it's a support system for those students. So we're also recognizing that that is, another form of diversity that we would like to bring. And we have consistently been named by Pride as a very LGBTQ friendly campus. And so, we have that diversity as well. So anyway, I think I am, did I make another question? So students can take study abroad program all 4 years. Yes, so you can do as many mini-term programs as you would like. You will typically be able to fit in one full-term program. So students who are doing more than one study abroad program, if they want to go to a couple different places, are typically doing one full term and then some mini-term programs as well. And as I mentioned before, that is open to students from all academic programs. And so that's really a benefit of that liberal arts college where you have that breadth of academic programs. And so you are able to find that term abroad that, maybe you aren't going to take any of your engineering classes when you are studying in France or when you are studying in Argentina or Australia. Maybe you won't take any, but you will still not be thrown off of your academic graduation in 4 years because you have taken the study abroad, and that's where the liberal arts comes in. Very good questions, everyone. So as I said, once again, my name is Susan Hanks. I will be happy to answer any questions. So please feel free to email me if you have a specific question about a certain academic department. Our professors love to talk about their departments, so they would be happy to be in touch with you as well. But you can use me as kind of the point person, and I will pass those things along. So hopefully I'll see some of you on campus or some of you in other virtual experiences. I hope everyone stays well and enjoys your evening and your weekend. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I just want to share my screen for one final note, just for everybody to see. So with that, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. When you close out of this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we would appreciate any feedback that you can provide. There is one more round of sessions happening this evening, so if you would like to, I suggest signing up for those. And then in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as other sessions at strivescan.com/CACHET. So again, thank you and have a fabulous evening. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.